one, I think it's just a clarification question, essentially about if the other party's seen first, or the CAFCASS officer kind of buys into the other, the perpetrator's narrative. Essentially, just to clarify, are we saying we don't raise that with the FCA, we raise that in court?
If they feel that the report in their view misrepresents who think what the other person, well, it may not misrepresent what the other parent has said, but you may feel that that's exactly not true. Yeah, I would kind of raise that in court. So the CAFCASS officer is just reporting what they've heard or what they think they've heard. They're not going to change their reports. They don't like changing reports. They don't like being corrected. So yes, you'd bring that in court. Maybe you might want to go to a final hearing when you can give evidence about it. You might want to do a position statement, just little things to kind of put them right. But as I said, it's about opinions, about positions, and there will be different positions, and that's the difficulty that the court have got with trying to work out where the child is in these positions, in these perspectives.
So follow-up question to that is around what trait, and again, something I can certainly answer from my perspective of being in that field, but it's probably changed a bit. Do FCAs receive any training whatsoever on their own unconscious bias, on their own experience, childhood experience, their own family dynamics that play into these things? Do they get any training in that whatsoever?
Well, certainly there's supervision should be able to deal with that, but in terms of unconscious bias, there has been in quite recent years training on unconscious bias. I didn't attend it for some reason, but I didn't deliver it, but my colleagues delivered it, and lots of practitioners did go. But yeah, but I don't think that covered every practitioner. Just those that wanted to go. Or I don't think it was a compulsory course. And just because you attended a course on unconscious bias doesn't mean that you haven't got the unconscious bias. And the worst thing is that where you've made up your mind, and then you don't want to, it's kind of confirmation bias, isn't it? Where you don't want to change your opinion regarding, depending on the information you've got. So you look for the information that supports it. And unfortunately, that's what happens. They make their opinion, their views very early on, and then they just miss new information. It becomes awkward to them, or their brains can't cope with it. That's kind of human psychology, really. So yeah, so there's all kinds of biases. Might be cultural, might be gender biases. A lot of men feel that there's bias against them because most of the practitioners are female, and it doesn't always kind of work that way. But yeah, there's loads of things that can affect the relationship they have with you, how they might see the case.
And is there any way for someone to raise that without kind of having a go? Is it just going through the reports and pointing out the factual inaccuracies, not pointing out, you treated me unfairly? Like I said, about 10 minutes with one parent, half an hour with the other. That it's easy to lead to bias, isn't it? The more information you get from one person, whether consciously or not, you take it on board more. But is it literally just going through the report and highlighting all of those factual inaccuracies rather than sort of addressing the elephant?
Yeah, so I pick your battles. You want to pick out the bits that are really, really key, and bring evidence, bring facts, really. So if you know that they had an interview of 20 minutes for yourself and 2 hours with the other person, if you know that, then certainly the court need to know that, because the court need to ask questions. And you've always got the opportunity to have the CAFCASS officer cross-examined, but they have to kind of explain these things. So hopefully you can get to agreement before then. But yeah, that is one of the challenges, unfortunately.
So next question is about a child who has limited English. I mean, it's a young child, but in general, when there's language barriers, how does that?
Yeah, well, they should always have access to interpreters, and they need to make sure they get the right interpreter. The bit that they're meant to be really good at is engagement with children. So it's important that they do understand the language. And And it may not just be language, it may be about the child's age, the child might have a disability. There's all kinds of reasons why a child will find it difficult to share their voice, but there's also thinking about using pictures and other kind of tools that they can use to kind of express how they're feeling. But yeah, the CAFCASS really do need to get to what the child's needs, wishes, and feelings are. And that's a really, again, a big part of the welfare checklist that must be covered. And as a parent, you will know the child's wishes and feelings. They will need to get them directly from the children, but I would make sure that you kind of share that and see whether they get kind of the same kind of story, really. You should know what your child's needs are, what they're saying. And I'd make sure that the CAFCASS officer knows that, and it doesn't just rely on whether the interview with the child goes really well.